Hello everyone and welcome to this video about the Mayas. This is going to be a video about a high score in the Mayas. I'm going to teach you how to get 11,600 points, which is the absolute max score that you can get in the Mayas. And be advised, it is very tedious to do so because you need to restart a million times. Not 10, not 100, a lot of times. But yeah, this strategy will also help you get anything above 11,000 points. So it is entirely up to you to decide what your goal is. If you want to go for this super high score, you're going to need to play hours and hours and hours until you get it. But maybe you're okay with 11,400. That you can probably get with, I don't know, half an hour, 1 hour, I don't know, right? So it is entirely about to you. I am gonna show you what I do to get that score. I've been doing it constantly lately in the past events, and I really love this game. Yeah, let's start. Let me show you what my strategy is. First of all, I'm gonna tell you what we need in order to get these 11,600 points. We need to get all poison towers, and that means occupy them all. You have to enter them and occupy them. Then you also need to clear all the poisonous fog, which comes on levels 13, 15, and 16. You have to click it and clear it. There is 7 fogs on each level. You have to clear them. That is going to give you points. So occupying a poison tower gives you 100 points, and clearing each of the fogs on each level gives you 10 points per fog. So we need to get all the points that we have, that we can absolutely get. Another thing is we need to kill all the warriors, guards, and obviously the priests. If you don't kill one, you lose points, and this score is not possible. And lastly, we need to finish without wounded. If we finish level 20, which is the last one, and we have wounded, our score is gonna be reduced drastically. And I mean, we might be able to get 11,600, but with wounded, it would be maybe 10,000, maybe 9,000. Wounded in the last level are super important. And for that, I actually came up with this strategy. It's very simple. You have to have a good start. That means choosing siege troops, powerful generals with marked size, always the logistic supply, and always the poison towers. Then you push on the easy levels. I am going to show you in a minute what I mean by that. Then we need to save all the healing runes for the end game. The end game is the last levels of this game. Save all the runes. They're very important, the healing runes. And lastly, like I said in here, we need to finish without wounded. If you need to have some extra information here, like I said, the poison towers, they give you 100 points. Typhoon Tower 50, Crescent Tower I think is 25, and obviously if there is a level with no tower, you get 0 points. So if you decide to get a lower score than 11,600, then you might need to calculate what points you are giving. You are surrendering. So for instance, if I get a Typhoon Tower instead of a Poison Tower, then I'm losing 50 points. So my max score is going to be 11,550. Maybe I have a level without no tower, so I am sacrificing 100 points. Okay, so my max score is going to be 11,500 then. So the towers are very important in order for you to understand what your highest score possible is. And in here I am showing you what are the good buffs that I like, because there's a lot of buffs in the game. And loss of survival is very good to have. This is going to prevent your troops from getting wounded when you clear the poisonous fog, so this helps a lot. Triple lines is everyone's favorite, I think, because it makes your troops a lot more powerful. You only need to send 3 generals, and that is really good because it protects the HP from your troops. It helps. And lastly, I want to say that you need the hospital, the field hospital, or at least one revival rune. One of these two. This is an absolute must. That is why this is highlighted. You need to have at least one of these in order to try and get this max score. And lastly, if you see Hands of Death, the Hand of Death buff, avoid it. This is a really bad one, because the Hand of Death, this will not allow you to use the healing runes, and we absolutely need to do so in order to get these scores. So remember that. Good buffs, bad buffs. Avoid Hand of Death. The rest of the buffs, you can just read what you're getting and see if it's convenient for you or not. Just choose whatever it helps you. And in here I created what I call a little map of the stages, and I divided the game into stages. We have here in gray these checkpoints, which is where you can restart in case you don't like a result. You can go back to stage 1, stage 3, stage 8, 14, and lastly 18. So once you start playing the game, you can always go back to those stages. So before you reach that checkpoint, make sure you're absolutely happy with what you got, because once you reach here, either you're happy with it or you're gonna have to restart to level 1. And if you made it to checkpoint 18 and you're not happy with something, you're gonna have to go back to level 1, and that really sucks because you're gonna be wasting a lot of time. So what I do is I start and try to reach one of these stages, at least one checkpoint every day. So the event lasts 6-7 days, and if you reach one of these stages per day, then it doesn't get very tedious, because sometimes this can take hours and hours. Okay, so here is the plan. We're gonna push in these levels, because in here you only have 2 poison towers possible before you reach the checkpoint. So you only need 2 consecutive poison towers, and that is easier to get than in here. You have 4 poison towers, and getting 4 consecutive poison towers, it is absolutely hideous. You're gonna have to restart hundreds of times before you get all poison towers from level 9 to level 13. So pushing here is just not viable. It's not a good idea. Imagine you have to push for poison towers and also get a buff that you didn't get earlier. Maybe you didn't get field hospital you wanted now. So you don't push here. You push in here in these easy levels when there's only 2 towers. So level 1 and 2 you push, and level 15, 16 you push again. Okay, I don't push here either from stages 4 to 7, because this is also tedious. You need 3 poison towers to appear in here, and it is not viable again to get those poison towers and a buff, and no, it's not doable. You're just gonna have to restart 10 times more than if you don't push here. Okay, so this is the plan. We are gonna be moving from the very beginning, and what we get is we are going to have to start with logistic supply. Why? Because this will heal your troops a little bit every time you enter a new level. 1%, 2%, I can't remember precisely, I think it's 1%, but that just adds up and in the end makes a difference. Then absolutely get all poison towers. I had it here marked because all poison towers is absolutely necessary in case you want to have the max score. 11,600 doesn't happen without all poison towers. Then I am recommending only siege troops because that is what I play, that is what works for me, and that is what I do. Generals with march size. So you want to use powerful generals that have march size, because the more troops you take with you, the more power you are bringing into the battle, and that helps. And in here, because I push, and that means that you get all this stuff from the beginning, plus the 2 poison towers and a good buff. So remember, we had good buffs in here, so I want to get at least one of these ones before I move to stage 3. So either loss of survival, triple lines, or field hospital. That is what I want to see in here before I reach the checkpoint 3. And let me show you that how that looks in the game. So I already had to restart maybe like 50 times before I got the poison tower and I had the logistic supply. Remember, logistic supply actually restores 3% of the troops every time you enter a new level. So this one is the one to go. This is the combination you want. Start with a poison tower and logistic supply. Another thing, if you're a small player, you're not very powerful. For instance, myself, I don't spend a lot of money in the game. I don't have super generals, and I consider myself a medium player. For me, I also push and try to get the poison tower as close as possible to my castle, because if this tower is up here, I'm gonna have to clear a lot of fog before I reach it, and that is going to wound my troops, and I need to protect them in order to move to the next level and be happy with the result. Okay, so having these towers close to you helps a lot, especially on these stages. Stage 1, I can push here because I can just restart once and choose until I get that tower close to me. I push again in stage 4. I make sure that tower is close to me, because if it isn't, I only have to go back to stage 3. And in here again, stage 9, I do the same, because then I only have to go back to stage 8 to try it again. And lastly in here, stage 15. So I make sure that these towers are actually close to my castle, right? Every little bit helps you protect that HP from your troops. Then another recommendation that I had is all siege troops and the generals. Let me show you what I am using. So these are my troops. This is not a siege general itself. Definitely Marco Polo is not a siege general, but I am using strong generals, at least what my strong generals are, and they have a march size buff. They have march size skill books and maybe dragons that allow you to bring more troops. The more troops you can get, the better. So if you have really weak generals, you can go with random generals like Genghis Khan or King Arthur. They give you march size. They are a good idea to be using here. But I know my powerful generals, my PvP generals, they have march size in them already, so I can use them. And of course I have a siege guy in here, and that is what I take with me. This is my strategy. Again, only siege troops. I don't create layers. I've seen people creating layers. They want 1,000 ground, 1,000 mountain, 1,000 range, just in case. Forget about that. Those layers are gonna get wounded. And remember, our goal is not to get wounded. We need to finish without wounded. So having layers is an awful strategy. Okay, I think I spoke enough. I am assuming you already know about this game. You played it before. I am not gonna be going through little basic things like how to clear the fog. Obviously, if you have the poison tower, you want to go straight forward to that tower first in order for that tower to stop hitting you. Because if I stop it, then I can clear the rest without getting wounded. So it would be dumb for me to start clearing everything else before this tower is deactivated. So go straight forward to the poison tower before you actually do anything else. Another little tip is clear all the fog that you can before you hit these guys, and if in case you are having the option of hitting these two, always go for the big guy first, because your troops are now more powerful now than after you hit it. After you hit it, your troops are gonna get a little bit wounded, and it is best just to hit the big guy first before you move to the next one. When it comes to these buffs, like I said before, you want to read everything, and obviously since we are using siege machines, choose anything that goes with siege machines. If you don't have anything with it, just read what you have and see what is convenient for you or not. Hand of War will give you an increase of HP on your ground troops, so we are not using ground, so that is useless. Special reduces Mayan gold gain by 20% and increases all troops attack by 70%. I like that now, stage 1, because I only have 1 gold, so I am going to be using this one. I am not going to be losing any of my gold practically, so I can go with that. Read what you get before you get it. You do not want to get the bad buffs. Remember these ones. Where are they? Here. Hand of Death. Awful. Just avoid it. This is not going to allow you to use the healing roots, so whenever you see Hand of Death, avoid it. Okay, move forward to the next levels by doing so, playing intelligently, clear all the stuff that you can before hitting anyone else, because in here you're gonna get camps, you're gonna get calendars. And let me show you here. I'm just gonna play this level. I want to clear everything because sometimes in these chests, in the calendar, you might get buffs. Here's one room, that's nice. But sometimes you get buffs for your siege. So obviously you want to increase the buffs of your troops first before you hit those guys. And I always go for the big guy first. Mayan guards are more powerful than warriors, so I'm gonna hit the guard first. Okay, so that is how we do it. In here we got siege buffs, I go with that. After you clear one stage, I just make sure that before I clear the stage, I have to occupy the tower. The poison tower will not give you points until you occupy the tower, but make sure you do that last. Doing so will wound your troops even less. And let me just kill these ones that are left in here, and I can show you the last little tricks or so that I can tell you from my part, and that's pretty much all you might need before trying and restarting a million times before you try to get that high score. It is very tedious, but that is what I told you earlier. You can choose the towers. If you don't want to get all poison towers, then your life is going to be a lot easier. You're gonna be needing to play 1 hour or so instead of 20, 30, 40 hours. Okay, but this video is about the max score, and obviously I have to go with that and I have to show you that. So before I enter the Mayan camp, I just go ahead and occupy the tower. That is going to give me the scores. If you don't occupy it, you don't get points. Okay, that's 100 points. If you miss 100 points, yeah, there's no point of playing anymore. We're not going to get the high score. So occupy the tower first and then get the Mayan camp, because we're going to be recruiting here. And normally Napoleon, you have to check in here, Napoleon has some siege troops. So that is a good one to have. So try to choose generals that have siege in there, because we are going with siege buffs. And after I do that, I can enter to the next level. Okay. In here, I would hope to get another poison tower, which hardly ever happens. I don't know if we're lucky enough. Let's see. No, we're not. We don't have a single tower in here. So if I move forward, I am losing 100 points in here because I didn't get the tower. Remember the map in here. Stage 2, we have a poison tower. So if you don't get it, you're sacrificing 100 points. That is entirely your call. I don't know what you are aiming at in the scores. So for a 11,600, we have to go back to level 1. And this is what this game is all about. Restarting and restarting and restarting before you get that. Lucky enough, we have that one here, but we don't have this logistic supply, which means we have to restart again. And we do this as many times as possible, or as many times as needed, in order to get that we want, that we need. And that is why in my map I push. You push on these stages because you only need to get 2 consecutive poison towers. It is easier to push in here. So push by getting 1 good buff. Push by getting the 2 towers, and that is gonna increase your score. Okay, the last thing that I'm gonna show you now is we need to arrive at level stage 19 with 5,610 points. That is what you need in order to get the max score of 11,600. If you reach this stage with that number, then you know you're on track, you did things well, and you are able to get 11,600 if you do the last end game properly. So I'm just gonna pause the video here. I'm gonna go ahead and play all of this for you, and I'm gonna join you after I reach checkpoint 18, and I'm gonna tell you what happened to me in here, how I got through these stages and what I got. I'll show you everything that I got, and then we can play the end game, and then I'll show you how to get those 11,600 points. Okay, I'm not making this video any longer, so let's just pause it and move forward. Okay, so we made it to checkpoint in the stage 18. This is the last checkpoint, so let me just show you a little bit how it went for me. So I pushed in stage 1 and 2. I got all the stuff that we needed to get in the beginning anyways, but I got the triple lines in here, and I went with it because I really like triple lines. And after that, I think I was lucky enough to, even here where we are not supposed to push, I was lucky enough to get the field hospital. That was great. But I struggled a little bit here because in the last in this don't push stage, which is huge, you need to get 4 poison towers, and that is just insane. I didn't get the loss of survival, and that meant that on stage 13 I was having wounded left and right. This poison fog really hurts you. That is why loss of survival is really important. If you get it, if you can push in here, even better. Like I said at the beginning, I went with triple lines and I nearly paid the price in here. So I was lucky enough, and I said, you know what, screw it. I know healing is coming on the 14, and I can still push again on the 15 and 16. That is what I did. I had to push here like crazy. I had to try to get the loss of survival on 15, plus 2 poison towers, and at least one more healing stream. So this was a big push. I restarted a lot of times until I was happy with it, and at the end we reached stage 18, which is where I am right now at, and I'm happy with what I have. So I think this is enough to finish with the high score. I said that you need to get 5,610 points when you enter the stage 19, and that is what I should have right now. Yep, there it is, 5,610 points. And just let me show you what I had. I already showed you that I had triple lines, loss of survival, then field hospital. My buffs are not high enough, they're actually low. Some websites tell you that you should have 5,000% buffs or 7,000% buffs. That is just ridiculous. You don't need that, so just don't listen to that. I'm gonna show you how you do it just by following this strategy. The runes, I am a little bit worried here, and I have to tell you the truth. I already played this last stage, and I know I am missing one healing rune in here. That is why I also put in here that get any missing buff. The stage 19 is a very good place to restart. You can go back to 18, then play 19 again. If you're missing a buff, one of these epic buffs, like the field hospital maybe, then you can kill this Mayan high priest as many times as needed until you get the field hospital. If you're missing a healing rune, like myself right now, I can play this stage enough times until one of these guards gives me one of those healing runes. So this is the absolute last push that I'm gonna be doing before reaching stage 20. And yep, let's try to do it. And before I do that, I want to show you a little trick. I know, because I played this game like several times before. I already gotten the 11,600 points many times before, and I already know my generals, my troops. And in this case for me, my troops might be a little bit too powerful. That may not be your case, I don't know. In the last stage is a bit tricky because you might get a lot of siege buffs, you might get a lot of this and that, or maybe you don't, or maybe just you're just a big player and your troops are too powerful. These ones, the generals that we get from those camps, these are very weak, but maybe your main generals are too powerful. So we need to find something in between. At least I need to do it. And what I do is I only send one general to clear a few of these monsters on stage 19. That is going to wound my general, and I want to reach that sweet spot when my general is a little bit wounded, but he's still powerful enough to cause a lot of damage. And I know for my general, that is when I am around 900,000 troops left. I think I am there now. Let me check. And yep, 946,000 troops. That is enough for me. So my general is a little bit wounded here. You can do that too in case stage 20 gets a bit difficult for you, in case you are killing the monster in one hit. But you're gonna have to science that, because I absolutely don't know what generals you are playing with. I don't know how powerful they are and so on. So after I do that, after I weaken my general, I am going to be going back to my triple lines, because that is what I have. And I'm gonna clear this stage. Remember, before we move to the next one, we wanna get that buff that we're missing in case we're missing it, or that extra healing rune like in my case. So I'm really crossing my fingers for that. And I am just gonna go ahead, pause the video, and jump forward and show you how to place the last level. Alright, so I had to restart stage 19 several times until I got more of these healing runes. I got one more of the 15% for all troop slots and one more of the 20% for one, which I think is going to be enough for me to finish this level. And this is what we've been working so hard for. We are gonna try to get 11,600 points scored, and yeah, let's see if it happens. Remember when I actually weakened one of my generals before coming here, this general? This general healed a little bit because we have the logistic supply from level 1, which is gonna heal your troops a little bit on each level. And I am hoping this general is just powerful enough to hit this Mayan High Priest, but not kill it. I want to reduce the HP of this priest by a lot, but not kill it. That is the idea on how to finish this last monster. Let's see if it works. I am just gonna choose my one general that I had ready. And yep, he didn't kill it. I hope I'm causing a lot of damage here. Yeah, my general didn't die. This is why field hospital is so important. So you can do that, because if you get a defeat and you don't have field hospital, your general is going to die. And if that general is dead, you are not going to get the max score. So that is why I also recommended which is called the revival rune. That rune can help you here in case this general dies, you don't have field hospital. You can use that rune, revive this general, then heal it. Okay, so everything has a reason now. Yep, this is perfect. So we were able to wound this priest by like a lot, and I am still not super happy with this. I want to reduce this amount of HP a little bit more, and for that what you can do is use this, what I call pizza runes, because these ones are going to be reducing the HP of that guy. This is a 5%, is a big one. Yeah, I think we can use another one. Let me use the 3%. I hope I don't kill it. The idea is not to kill it, and I want to think that I can use this 2% one. Please don't die. Yep, he didn't die. This is what you want to see. Just a tiny little bit of HP left, because now this guy is super easy to kill. Before we kill this guy, we want to heal our troops. That is why we have to save these healing runes. I didn't use a single one until now. So I am going to be healing my general, which is super wounded here. And I am going to be using all these healing runes on this guy. Let me heal the rest of the generals too. Let's to see if they get to the full HP back. I have two more. Let's go healing. And I think that did it. Let me just check. For checking, you can always hit attack, and you can just check your troops. These one are fully healed, and as you can see, this one is not. I don't think this is enough to not give you the max score, because it's just a tiny little bit of wounded. But yeah, ideally you want to get 0 wounded or just a tiny little bit of wounded. And yeah, I don't know exactly the numbers, I don't know what to tell you here, but try to start or hit that last monster with full health. Like right now, my troops are fully healed, and now I can go ahead hit this guy. This guy is going to die, but before I do that, I am going to be using these prediction runes, which increase the troops attack, defense, and HP by 100% in the next battle. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it so I can punch a little bit harder. And I am not sure if this is stack, but I'm gonna use them anyways, because the last level I don't have a use for them now. And let's hope that is enough. So we are ready for that max score. Let's just cross our fingers, and I am gonna be using my most powerful generals. Only 3 of them, because I have triple lines. And let's see if we do it. Yep, that did it. That was it. 11,600 is absolutely possible, as you saw. And this is what we have here. Troop buffs. As you can see, it's not big enough. This is below. This is subpar. This is below mediocre. So you don't need big buffs to do it. then what you need is what I told you. Field hospital is a must. Loss of survival is one of the absolute most important ones to protect your troops. Triple lines is always super nice, but we always start with logistic supply. And I got the giant killer, which, yeah, it was a random one to get. Okay, so that is how you do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a lot of work, and I'm sorry I made it long, but there's no way of making videos like this a lot shorter, simply because there is a lot of information here, and all of these spreadsheets also take a lot of time and to explain what everything is in here. So yeah, enjoy that high score. I hope you get it. Please comment below if you got it. It would make me very happy to know that I helped someone to increase the score. And like I said before, you can also sacrifice some points. You don't absolutely need 11,600 points, but as long as you are scoring high in that event and you are getting those fragments for CSERT, then I'm happy. Okay, so comment below if I help you. I hope I did, and have fun. I'll see you.